I guess that transitions us pretty well, friends, into the other bit of news here, which came out just this week, which is that LoL Esports is going to be essentially merging the South American and North American regions into an Americas region, just like Valorant. So as somebody who's fairly familiar with the Valorant scene, the Americas, exactly, the way I read this is it's essentially going to be exactly what Americas is, barring a couple small distinctions. First and foremost, though, looks like they're adding a third international event with a Fearless Draft. I'm actually very curious to see that in play. I think it'll be kind of fun. If anything, it'll be entertaining. Now, that said, because of the fact that it's Fearless Draft, and Fearless Draft doesn't really exist anywhere else in the game or the ecosystem right now, it will be fun to watch, but I feel like people will feel in a lot of ways that it doesn't have much weight for the rest of the year. You'd still be able to say that you're the winner of that tournament, but that it just isn't going to be... It's not going to be looked at in the same regard as the other international tournaments because it is not played with the same settings. Unified split. Okay, great. Multi-region leagues. Yep, we're getting into that. New international league. Okay, gotcha. And the guest team slot. New international events, like I said, first split global tournament across all regions. The initial round of the tournament will begin in regional play. So that's the important thing to realize is that each of the regions is going to play internally, and then the top 5 teams from the top 5 regions will will qualify a single team for the international round of the tournament in March. So in actuality, it'll be a 5-team tournament when it comes to the international portion of the tournament. But either way, I think, again, it'll still be kind of fun to watch it. Boom, boom, boom. Fearless Draft. For those of you who don't know, Fearless Draft just basically means that any champion that was played in prior games for the rest of the series. So the 10 champions that get played in Game 1 just cannot be touched in Game 2. Now, what I don't know, actually, is if it's all 10 champions or if it's only I assume it's all 10 champions, not you can't pick your own 5. My assumption is it's going to be all 10 that were picked, not only the champions that your team picked. They don't clarify here, but that's my understanding of Fearless. So this is kind of what the new schedule looks like in the big overview. Split one. I think this is supposed to be pretty truncated, especially if this is going to take place in March, and typically they don't get started till mid to late January. So it should be a truncated Split 1 into the first event, Split 2 MSI, Split 3 Regional Championships Worlds. And you'll now notice there's no regional championships placed here after Split 2 to qualify into MSI. There is a split championships at the end of summer, and that's because I think they want to have just a single regional champ now and start moving towards you are the winner of the year. New split structure. Second split will then qualify. Okay, so with a new international event, we'll refine a regional structure. Starting the season, all regions begin the international tournament in first split. Second split will then qualify teams for MSI, which will move later in the calendar to roughly the beginning of July. That's true. So we wouldn't even have had MSI yet at this point. It's the middle of June right now. Third and final split in each region will culminate with a regional championship to crown one season-long champion for each region. So there won't be 2 champions per season now, per region. Focusing on a single season regional matchup makes splits more cohesive and interconnected. Sure. And then, boom, we've got the new leagues. So the I guess let's see what their reasoning is. In addition to optimizing our business model with pro teams, we've also looked for ways to increase the competitiveness and stakes of our regional league overall. To that end... To that end, we'll begin conversations with teams in 7 of our regions around our intention to form multi-region leagues. LoL Esports fans clearly enjoy region versus region battles and the fandom and passion tied to geographic pride. Interesting that they say to that end, we'll begin conversations. The way that I heard all this is that this is done and decided. I'm assuming we're still going to end up there, but this is interesting to me that they're saying they're going to begin discussing with teams in 7 of our regions, so they haven't even fully discussed this with all the teams. Quite interesting, considering some of the other stuff that comes later where we learn, obviously, some teams are going to have to drop out. So that means Riot has their idea of who they don't want to be around anymore. LoL Esports fans clearly enjoy region versus region battles. Okay, Americas. The LCS in North America is seeing an upswing in sentiment and achieved its first year-over-year growth in viewership in 4 years. Show me those numbers, because I'm not sure I believe them. Brazil's CBLOL is more popular than ever, with incredible fandom and viewership numbers. LLA in Latin America has seen an uptick in engagement this year as well, with growing interest in watching global leagues and other leagues, including the LCS and CBLOL. Fans have been actively participating in our multi-language broadcasts and co-streams and showing a growing enthusiasm across regional competitions. So while we're pleased to see progress across these three regions, we believe we have an opportunity to combine forces in a new Pan Americas League that will be good for fans, teams, and pros. In this new proposed model, the LCS and CBLOL would now compete as North and South conferences. Right, so that's the big difference between America's League and America's Valorant. In America's Valorant, there are not conferences. All of the teams get put into the same conference. They all actually play here in LA. So you've got Latin American teams, Brazilian teams, Argentinian teams, and North American teams, all located in LA, all playing against each other in a singular region and quote-unquote conference. Here, they're going to split them into two, which makes things a little bit different. Each conference would maintain 6 of its existing partner teams, so 6 of the 8 in that case here for the LCS. Each will integrate one team from the LLA based on geographical alignment and reserve one guest team spot for promotion relegation through the Tier 2 system. So again, one LLA team to each region to bring to 7, and then one more goes to a Tier 2 team as the guest team that can promote relegate, I guess. The Americas League should operate with a 3-season split, as we saw above. We already know how this works. Season 1, 2, or split 1, 2, 3 goes to Tournament 1, Tournament 2, the Americas Championship, and the top 3 teams advancing to World. Now, it says here, 1 team from each conference. So even if the 3 best teams in the league are all North American teams, the 3rd best team will not go to Worlds, because that spot would be reserved for a South Conference team, for a CBLOL team. So that could cause some headaches. Obviously, they're doing this for regional balance and geographical balance, but that, I think, could cause some of a stir if you have 3, like, let's pretend Cloud9, FlyQuest, and CLG, or NRG, rather, the 3 of them are just clearly by far and away the best 3 teams in all of Americas. One of them isn't going to get to go to Worlds simply because they're in the wrong conference, which is a peculiar choice in my opinion. And then, yeah, for MSI, top team from each conference will secure a slot, a total of 2 Americas teams. So once again, even if you're the second best team, but you're second best team from the same region as the first best team, you don't get to go to MSI. So this is going to hurt and sting for a lot of people. Yep, as Mehrash says, this is what's disappointing, I think, for a lot of NA players and a lot of NA fans, is it feels like NA just straight up lost a slot internationally. Now we could have the conversation about whether or not NA even deserves those slots based on NA's performances, and I think there's a real discussion and argument to be had there. But we'll continue onwards. One advantage of making the decision to restructure America is that we can experiment with innovations that our structure wouldn't allow, in this case by incorporating... I disagree already, though. Our prior structure wouldn't allow. You don't need... I mean, you're right, our prior structure wouldn't allow it, but you don't need to smash 2 leagues together to do this. You could have restructured North America to do this. There's no reason why North America, like the LCS, couldn't have just gone from 8 teams to 6 teams plus an LLA plus a Tier 2. Like, that... The best teams coming from Tier 2 would compete in the promotional relegation tournament at the end of each America season against the existing guest team from each conference. The victorious team would earn a slot in the respective conference for the following season, enabling continually fresh talent and competitive dynamism, within the league. We'll let you know later this year how this would work in 2025, since we don't have the system in place for 2024 and beyond. We believe this, and so they don't even know how they're going to do it yet. Great. In developing the newly proposed model, our goals are to capitalize on the strengths of each region, growing our existing fan bases, improve competitive play, America's results in international conference. I'm not sure how this does that, and enhance the pathway to pro play. It does do that, but I'm not sure how this gets affected. We're hoping to forge a unique and vibrant competitive landscape that leverages our rich history and potential for from south to north, from north to south, creating something as distinctive as our fan community. In the fall, we plan to release further detail on the selection process for teams in the North and South conferences, outline the competitive structure for each split, and share how we plan to enhance cross-conference play and provide updates to the Tier 2 system throughout the Americas. APAC news. I'm not going to read this, y'all, because I'm not an APAC person. It sounds like they're doing very much the same thing, taking a few leagues and smashing them together. So once again, here you go, a reminder The new event, each region is going to get 1 slot for the top 5 regions. MSI, each region gets 2 slots, but again, because we're Americas, that is split between the conference. So it's 1 North, 1 South. Worlds, 17 teams. 1 slot granted to the MSI champion, regardless of how they play in summer. 1 slot guaranteed to the second best performing region, which I assume they mean at MSI. And how do they dictate second best performing region? Is it top placement? Is it aggregate placement of the region? I need some more info here. But my assumption is it's just second place, not from the MSI champions region. I would assume. Well, but what if second place is from the same region? What if it's 2 Korean teams? Do they give MSI champion gets to go, but then also Korea gets another slot, or then they go down? But then from there, how do you decide who's third? Because you had 2 teams that lost in the semifinals. So if you have 2 teams that lost in the semifinals, one's Chinese and one is European, but they both lost to Korean teams, who gets the second slot? So like this, to me, I'm very confused by this in a graphic. Maybe they give us more info later. And then 3 spots per region, 15 total. But once again, that'd be 1 for the North, 1 for the South, and then 1 for either when it comes to Americas. With a potential move to 5 total regions, we're taking a fresh look at our division of berths at our international events. Each region had 1 slot at our new event, blah, 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 2 slots, 3 slots. In addition, the MSI champion and the second best performing region would continue to earn additional world slots for their leagues, bringing the total number of teams to 17. Featured play and best of the winner and join 15 qualified teams directly at Swiss stage. Got it. But they didn't tell us, they didn't give us any more clarity on this up here, the second best region. Trade-offs. We believe strongly that the future we're building towards will be a better one for fans, pros, and teams. The store will be more streamlined and easy to follow, have more exciting events, and track toward financial sustainability, including better support through our global revenue pool. Our proposal does reduce the number of teams within our Tier 1 ecosystem. Simply put, we have too many teams in Tier 1 to support sustainably. By reducing the number of teams, we'll be able to focus support from the GRP by ensuring revenues are distributed among fewer teams, thereby increasing revenue per team. Okay, that's good. This should be able to help concentrate player talent. That's true, but now you have less teams, so you can support less players, making it easier for fans to follow a streamlined ecosystem and ultimately creating a high-quality matches worth your time, maybe. Building towards a bright future. LoL Esports is experiencing several positive momentum-building trends. Recent changes to our international events have created higher stakes and better cross-regional matchups. They've clearly been well-received by our players and fan base, as evidenced by the viewership increases and sentiment research from Worlds 2023 and MSI 2024. Would love to see those numbers, by the way, not showing us any numbers. We're also pushing the boundaries of LoL Esports by developing innovative strategies that integrate entertainment partners and League of Legends. By the way, I don't doubt this necessarily. I actually think their international changes have been pretty good in a number of ways, and sentiment has been good. So I just would like to see the numbers. Just give us the data. Why not? We are also pushing the boundaries of LoL Esports by developing innovative strategies and integrate. I already read this. Blah blah. Examples include co-streaming, World Fan Fest, Hall of Legends. Hey, guess who's the voice of Hall of Legends? Although maybe just that one video. I don't know if they'll ever ask me to do it again. I would love to. That'd be a cool way, for me to remain somewhat attached to League for the rest of my life, is just to be the voice of the Hall of Legends. We believe changes outlined here will result in a more competitive and entertaining sport for fans and a more sustainable business model for our team in Riot Games. We expect it'll continue to provide us unforgettable, so we look forward to seeing your feedback. Okay. Well, there you have it, friends. League of Legends Americas. To me, I guess my final thoughts on this is I'm not surprised at all. It was kind of obvious to me that when they'd made this decision for Valorant that they would pretty quickly start moving the LCS in the same direction. And so that doesn't surprise me in the least. I think there's going to be some questions or some, maybe not some questions. Yeah, some questions to be answered around things like this. Or the fact that only 2 teams get to go, but what if 4 teams on the North Conference are better than the South Conference? That's going to be a very feels bad kind of perspective. But yeah, I mean, only time will tell whether or not this is a smart decision. I just would like to see some of this data they're talking about. They talk about LCS numbers being up, but they don't even tell us which numbers they mean. because that could be anything. It's like if they're evaluating average minutes watched, like is it AMA, average minute audience? Is it hour? Is it minutes watched? Like what are the numbers that went up? Is it peak concurrent? Is it average concurrent? That would matter. Either way, look, as I always say, I wish the best for them, man. I wish the best for them. I love the LCS. I love League of Legends. I love, what it was in my life. It's definitely not that anymore. But I hope that they succeed.